Welcome to the CFL Fans in the USA Football Podcast. Once again, this is Rick Crabb, and joining me as always, the moderator of the CFL Fans in the USA Facebook group, Mr. Phil Hall. Phil, welcome back, and man, we had another good week of CFL last week.
Absolutely, we had a great weekend. Hey, how y'all doing? And this show testament how CFL is a good game all around. So we're gonna talk about that, and we got a new intro. Like, I hope y'all enjoyed the new intro. Shout out to my nephew, and he taught me how to do that. And also shout out to my nephew for watching. Shout out my wife family for watching the BC Saskatchewan game.
Awesome.
They was they was a CFL virgins, and they actually enjoyed the game. Now they were ready to watch some more games this week.
We're converting people one person at a time. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's beautiful, you know. So it was a good week, and I appreciated the games they had, and I know, and also shout out to the Louisville Kings. I know you're a DC fan, but shout out for them for winning the UFL championship, and shout out for UFL fans over there, because they did their thing, showing that stadium packed. So it's gonna be pretty good. So good job, guys.
Yeah, it was a good game, and as a Ravens fan, I'm happy for Chris Redmond, Tony Banks, Jamie Sharper, and Chris McAllister, who are all on their coaching staff. If they would have had a different opponent, like say if Orlando would have beaten DC, I probably would have cheered for Louisville. But it was a good game for them. You know, congratulations, Louisville. DC will be back. At least I hope. Anyway, spring football, you can never tell.
So and then basically I do a thing in December. So like, stay tuned in December. I'm gonna do a college football 27 simulation game between the Grey Cup, the top three CFL teams and the top three UFL teams.
Ooh.
Like, we call it Border Wars, and this will be the third year for doing this. So
there you
go. Whoever win the Grey Cup game, it'll be whoever win the Grey Cup game gonna play Louisville Kings on the simulation game. So you'll see that live on Facebook and also the UFL site too. So check that out.
Definitely we'll have to update that on the group. But you just led us into a nice segue, Phil, because you mentioned Border Wars. I have an announcement for a future episode. I'll pinpoint the date and the time. I'm looking at July 2nd before the kickoff of the first game of that weekend. But we will be celebrating here in the United States of America's 250th birthday. And with that, we will have a special episode. We will still have the news and recaps from the previous week. But we are going to dedicate it to the period in time between 1993 and 1995 where the CFL expanded into the United States. And you had, I think 7 teams total. One of them is kind of like, Sacramento relocated to San Antonio, so it was kind of like the same team, just 2 different cities. But you had that movement, and of course you had one team, one city that actually went up to Canada and won the Grey Cup. Actually went to 2 Grey Cups, but won in their second try. Then we're going to do a little tribute to each of the teams, and I arranged an interview with an author and documentarian named Ron Snyder, who did a book and a 30 style movie about the Baltimore Stallions. I will talk to him about those projects. It was a really good interview, Phil. It was probably about 27 minutes long, I'd say, and we went into a few topics, and we even mentioned the UFL. We compared things between then and now, with the UFL and the spring leagues compared to the CFL in the 90s. So that will be a lot of fun. I am looking forward to putting that together, and I'm sure between that, you and I, Phil, probably brainstorm a few other ideas for that episode, and we're going to make it epic.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Wait, I can't wait for that. And I also did a top 10 or top 15 best players from the CFL American teams
nice.
at that time, the 3 years. So you'll see some names, and we'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about each teams, and we talk about how the impact was at that time for American fans in the CFL. Now, we're not trying to promote America and the CFL, but we just want to go back in the past and relive the time we was watching CFL back in American times, and certain fans like us love watching it on TV, especially on ESPN2 every weekend. So
yeah,
we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, and it's not so much, as you said, it's not to slight Canada or anything like that. It's more of a moment in American sports history and CFL sports history. The CFL itself has a lot of history and tradition to it. Now, some of the Canadian fans, and I got into this with Ron in the interview, I mean, they felt like when Baltimore went up and they were scared. It was kind of like what you see in the Stanley Cup whenever a Canadian city advances to the Stanley Cup, where normally Calgary Flames fans hate the Edmonton Oilers, but if their Edmonton Oilers are playing against, like, say, the Florida Panthers or somebody in an American city, all of Canada rallies around that Canadian city. And that's kind of what they did with BC the first time and with Calgary the second time. And they were worried about an American team invading and taking, their trophy. And on Ron's movie, I interviewed one of the players. He was trash talking with the fans at Regina, basically saying, y'all are upset. You're going to be upset even more because we're going to win more of them. Not realizing that the Ravens were going to kick them out, like a month later. But but they were thinking, they were going to stay, because they were having success financially and on the infield wise. So they thought, they were building something big and long term, but unfortunately it didn't work that way.
And as a kid when I watched Baltimore, I really thought, because I didn't know the backstory of that as a kid, obviously, as pre-internet days, is like, I really thought Baltimore is going to be there to stay in the CFL, and it was like this is how NFL changed the landscape of Baltimore sports. They brought the Ravens in there. That means there's no more Baltimore Stallions, and the rest is history. But it's also a good thing about CFL. Montreal got a team because of Baltimore, and all the greats on the Baltimore team became the Montreal Alouettes, pretty much like Mike Pringle and Anthony Calvillo. He played for Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Is like, we're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about all the great players who was on each team, and it also elevate the CFL in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Right. Yeah, folks, that's going to be a great episode. We will update you on that. I mean, when I did the interview with Ron Snyder, he asked me to update him as well, and we will definitely do that. So it was a good interview. He actually not only wrote books about the Stallions, he wrote about the 1988 Orioles, which were a historically bad team, probably one of the worst teams in history. He wrote about that season. He also did a book about independent wrestling in Baltimore, dating back to the 60s. So I'm going to look that book up, and that just spare time reading. That should be fun. So.
No, that's crazy. I definitely gonna try to cop one of these boxes, and I can't wait to hear this interview. So it's gonna be good stuff. So I can't wait.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get to the recap week 2 and make our picks for week 3, um, you had mentioned that your nephew asked a really good question. And folks, I want to use this as an opportunity to encourage you. If you have any questions that you want us to answer, you either make comments on the videos themselves or in our Facebook group, and we'll try to make it into a regular Q&A session each week. So
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure, like, Rick gonna probably put that on the Facebook thing, like, hey, here's our episodes. But if you wanna be part of the episode, feel free to write a comment or ask a question. So we're gonna try to get you in there. So we would love to give you a shout out to it. That's what I'm starting to do. Like, once again, shout out my man Mike Goodchow for giving me a Willie Jefferson autograph and also a autograph for the keeper of the CFL trophy. So shout out to him. So who wants shout outs, let me know.
Yeah, your memorabilia room's going to be pretty crowded, I'm sure now.
I know, I can't wait. And oh yeah. And also another thing, if anyone goes to the games, even America or Canada, also put it on the Facebook thing, and if so, we'll give you a shout out of next week episodes that the people who went to the CFL games. So put that in there too.
Yeah, that should be interesting. And like we even get like people, and I've gone on the group and I've asked people in cities like, for example, this September I'm going to Hamilton. I was asking about parking and where to eat and what the concessions are like and all. And they've been very gracious and they've been telling me about it. They're like, welcome, yeah, you do this, go park here, whatever.
Yeah.
They've been really great about that. So.
Yeah. If anyone go to Hamilton, look for my buddy Ken Reed. He's also on the Facebook thing. This guy loves and breathes Tiger Cat football, and he also is ambassador of that city. So basically, he'll show you the whole city. He'll show you everything, and also try to get you inside of the football stadium before. I talked to him to get you in the stadium before the games or during their off games. So check him out.
Nice. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. All right. Well, your nephew had a really good question about basically how we thought NFL players would fare if they switched over to the CFL. I have some theories about that, but I want to hear yours first, and then
So I talked to him about this on Saturday about this, and he asked me a good question because he was watching the CFL game and also the Knicks game. Yeah, go Knicks! And we talk about why do NFL players fare pretty well in the CFL, and I told him this, like, here's my theory on it. Yeah, NFL got better talents, and yeah, they got better everything, this is that. But it is shown and proven that it almost takes a whole season to adapt the way a CFL game played. If you look at the thing, you look at Ricky Williams, you look at Chad Johnson, and you even look at Johnny Manziel, it took them a while to adjust the CFL way of the game. And there's different styles how to play it. Like you have to worry about the running start. You have to throw the ball 60 yards wider. So you practically drawing like a 40-yard pass north to south instead of east and west. It's like it's tough like that. And it took a year, and like Ricky Williams was there for almost 2 years. I could be right or wrong. It took him almost a year and a half to adjust the CFL way, and he didn't do good at all. And Chad Johnson, he did solid the later years of that season, but he looked lost in the first 5 or 6 games. And Johnny Manziel, well, alcohol played the game, but he did not know. These guys thought it was easy to go up there and rule supreme. And it reminded me a lot about this movie. And anyone watch, I'm a movie buff too. And anyone watched the movie Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good movie, right? Tom Selleck is basically an Asian major league player. Went to Japan because no one wanted him in the Major League Baseball. And guess what? He had to learn how to play the Japanese style of baseball.
Mm.
He tried to stuck his ways. He got strikeout. They knew his weaknesses and stuff like that. He had to relearn how to play baseball, but the Japanese way, and made himself a better player at that.
Right.
And like I say, NFL may be a better talent, but the rules, they have to learn. Everyone has to learn how to play their rules. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, it's like
theory.
Even with these new rule changes, well, a lot of that has to do, I think, more really with the field, the size of the field,
Yeah.
and end zones and such. But there's still, you have to adjust from 4 downs to 3 downs. And then as a result of that, it's like you have, instead of running to set up the pass, a lot of times in the CFL, you have to pass to set up the run. And all kinds of gridiron football have timing routes, but the fact that you can have several players go in motion, it always amazes me when you see like 3 or 4 guys, they hit the line of scrimmage right as the ball is snapped. I keep thinking, how do they do this without, going offside or a false start or whatever? But there are a lot of teams that do this. I mean, not only in the CFL, but there's a new league that's cropped up. I don't know if you've heard of this or not. It's actually a reboot of an old league from the 60s called the Continental Football League. Have you heard of this? Or?
Yeah, I heard about that, but I didn't know. I don't know. I heard they reboot that, but I didn't know like the real story about that.
Well, one thing they do is they have something called the Continental Shift, which is basically what they do in the fourth quarter. They switch from United States, NFL, NCAA, whatever you want to call it, rules to CFL rules, where you go from 4 downs to 3 downs. Your time clock is like 30 seconds to 20 seconds, or vice versa. Where I forget how that differs between the U.S. and Canada, but you have that. You have the waggle. You can have several players in motion. I don't know if they do 12 on a side or not, because they still have regular American football boundaries, but they have a lot of those rules, and it's interesting. A friend of mine from San Antonio who actually does a YouTube show called Texans Talking Football, he said they've already had players from that league get picked up by the CFL. So I think someone from BC went up to either BC or Calgary, I think, recently. But yeah, and the San Antonio team in that league actually has a guy. I think his last name is Arndt. I forget his first name, but anyway, he's only 30, but he's all right. He's played for Calgary and BC, and he was an assistant coach in Ottawa, and he's coming back to this San Antonio team to quarterback, and he said he couldn't wait till the Continental Shift. He said he thinks he's gonna basically burn a lot of defenders and stuff because they're not used to those rules. But he said he felt like the CFL style of play was more in his wheelhouse than the NFL style. And even though the kid is American though.
It's like I look at like videos like on YouTube, like people like the great Milt Stegall and Chad Johnson say the rules are more harder in CFL than NFL. And Milt Stegall was an NFL player, but he had to rechange thing, and he became one of the greatest players of all time. But Chad Johnson said,
Right.
I still don't know how to play this game up there. It's like, shout out to the people up there. My nephew also say, can a quarterback in the NFL, can a quarterback in the NFL do the CFL? I was like, absolutely. I even talk about. I hate to say it like this, like I really thought one of the greats who's over their past or prime.
Mm-hmm.
They can play 3 years in the CFL. Like, say for example, I'm gonna throw his name out, and he's still playing. He's still playing Billy. Like, say for example, Aaron Rodgers didn't play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Aaron Rodgers won't do this and all that stuff, but Aaron Rodgers could play 3 or 4 years in Canada right now, and I just think CFL is more a quarterback-driven league, and say an older quarterback can play a little longer there because the style of quarterback, the quick release, you got an extra receiver, and like you say, they played the pass first and run. So
right.
I broke that down.
Yeah.
I broke that down like that, So I was like, that's the problem. Maybe but they don't have enough money to get those kind of guys. I kind of wish they had the money to have those kind of guys. They'll bring more attendance to games and stuff like that. But
oh yeah, no doubt. But yeah, it's interesting to say that, and it makes sense with your reasoning with the quick release because I mean that's Aaron. I mean, even though he has lost maybe a step or two, but he's still masterful with that quick release. Though I mean, if you get a team that especially if it's run by a Ryan brother or son that wants to blitz on every down like some kid playing Madden, he'll chew him up because that's all he's got to do is But I don't know. I always thought of the CFL. I keep thinking of Doug Flutie. I keep thinking for some reason quarterbacks are. I keep thinking of them as being more a mobile quarterback league than a pocket quarterback. But I mean, I don't know. You see Bo, Levi Mitchell, and Burke. They're not really
Yeah.
They're not really scramblers per se.
And it's crazy. It's also a scrambler, but it's crazy. One of the best quarterbacks of all time in there, Anthony Calvillo. He could have. He'd make Peyton Manning look like Michael Vick, but it's just so if you have the right coaching, if you have the right arm, you could easily drive in the CFL. So,
oh, sure.
Yeah, but like I say, the NFL, they have to check their ego from the door because they're gonna have a rude awakening up there, and that's how it is. So,
and that's interesting because a lot of people, they'll downplay the CFL. I mean, it's a knock on you and I follow wrestling. It's a knock on a lot of the wrestlers who made famous such as Dwayne Johnson, Roman Reigns, Tito Santana. A lot of guys they wanted to play football in the NFL. They couldn't make it, and they wanted to play it in the CFL for a little bit. And it's oh, you played there because you weren't that good at football. You could only play in Canada. But no, it's a tough game. And most of their stadiums, except for BC, they have to deal with elements a lot more than a lot of the NFL cities do. I mean, so I mean, it's a rough. It is a very difficult sport.
Yeah, and anyone watch the show Little Rock? Has a show like Rocky Johnson, the Rock, and his youth days. They show a little clip there where he was up in the Calgary Stampeders, and he didn't know how it goes in the rules of the CFL. He didn't know it was a 1 yard difference in defense, and he didn't know it was a 12th player and all that stuff. It was it's a hard adjustment to an American to Canadian rules. So yeah.
Absolutely. But that's why we enjoy the game. I think that's why anybody likes CFL. I mean, because it was when I was up at Toronto, I was in line with a fan talking about it, and he lives in Toronto, but I think he also used to live in California. He's a Raiders fan, And he was like saying, well, why do you watch CFL? I said, well, I mean, I like the different rule set, and a lot of times the games are fast, high scoring, and there's a lot of action, and it's just fun football to watch, and it's free to watch on CFL Plus where we're at. So
yeah, and I also someone asked me that question too. And I was like, the reason why I told them that I love CFL because no league is safe.
No.
So it's like it's crazy. It's crazy how like you're winning 13-17, and it's 3 minutes to go. You still have if you score a touchdown, 30-24. You still have a chance to come back down the field and score. So it's how to go, and plus the Rouge, and I wish they don't eliminate the Rouge. I really don't. The Rouge play a factor of touchdowns and stuff like touchbacks and stuff like that, and the strategy. I feel like this isn't a knock. I'm not knocking the NFL today, but I feel like the strategy of CFL is a lot more strategic than NFL.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would.
Yeah. It's so many game within the game inside the CFL. Like, okay, I'm winning 31-30 right now.
Right.
And I have the ball, and then I'm in on the opposite 40-yard line. Should I kick the field goal? And if I miss it, or 31 tied, like if I miss the field goal, hopefully the guy don't go for the Rouge, But
right.
I mean, like it's so much game played about that. You have to keep your head on a swivel, and that's what I love about CFL.
Right. And with the new Rouge rules, I think there's a strategic element with it now too, because okay, yeah, if you get tackled in the end zone, the kicker gets a point. But the trade-off is you get the ball at, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, I think you get it like at the 30 or 40-yard line. So,
well, yeah, 40-yard line right there.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, a lot of times it's like, okay, yeah, we'll take the point, but we'll take the field position. We'll give you the point, but we'll take the field position. And then your quarterback only has, well, I want to say 60 yards, but really, 70 yards. But still, it's a lot better than starting off from, I don't know, 20 or 10, further back. So, and I think that's a lot of times where the lead isn't safe because the starting field position after a kickoff or a punt, and teams can just storm down the field. So, and this week, these past games from week 2, all 3 were evident of that, and we all let's get into that, man.
Absolutely. Let's get into that. And like I say, the first game on Thursday, the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Same on me. I thought Hamilton Tiger Cats going to be in a buzzsaw. And Winnipeg game is raining. It's packed house. Half of my buddies from Winnipeg went to this game. And basically what Hamilton did, I saved the last podcast, did. They had to find a way to run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. They won 37-27. Bo Levi looked like the Bo Levi of old.
Right.
And I sound like Chris Collinsworth to Patrick Mahomes. But Bo Levi was stellar. And so Zach Collares. Zach Collares looked good too. So what they did to do, they know they're gonna double team Lawler. Lawler is the guy, and Lawler need to get it going now. But they show a lot of good stars coming out. Larry Roundtree III was sensational that game on Thursday. He ran 124 yards, and he had 124 yards, and it was moving down the field. And then Carrick Weefall, he had 102 yards. He was catching all these deep passes and Weefall was so fired up because Weefall used to play for the Blue Bombers, so it was great. And Keandre Smith, he had 92 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns that game. It was just poetry in motion with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But when it was going on Winnipeg side, Zach Collaros was money too. He had 421 yards. But here's the thing: the defense stopped Brady over there, and that's the key of that game is stopping Brady. And like they had Pokey Wilson. Pokey Wilson was good. Tommy Neal, he had 111 yards. Nick Dempsey, the great Nick Dempsey, he scored a beautiful one-handed touchdown. It was Tim White. He had 79 yards. This team, don't be sad, Winnipeg fans. Y'all had a good game. It was fourth quarter. Hamilton took over in the fourth quarter. It was key plays, key passes. It was pretty good at that. So a good game to possibly see this 2 teams in the Grey Cup. So who knows? So that was a good game.
It's very possible. And if you're a Hamilton fan, you should be encouraged that it looks like they may have watched some film and learned some things from week 1 and made some adjustments, like you said, with the defense. And it looked like they took care of the ball a little better than they did in the previous against Montreal.
Yeah, and it also showed how Hamilton not only everyone talk about Kenny Lawler need to get up and get going. Kenny Lawler's getting double team.
Sure.
And that's the thing. And it's showing that Weefall and Keandre Smith is solid wide receiver to hold the wars at that. And Larry Roundtree, and then I know the Winnipeg defense is getting a little older, but stuff like that, but that's still a legitimate defense for the Blue Bombers. And running them left and right down the south, getting big chunks of yards, set up Bo Levi's game plan, and it's just poetry in motion, that team, man. And I'm not trying to be a homer here, but it's just it shows that Larry Roundtree can do the role as running back 1. So good game, and also the defense. Even though what's the face had 421 yards, Zach Collaros, but
right.
Big sacks, the big plays, the big moments. Like Julian Hauser, he had a big sack late in the second half. It was Winnipeg was driving; they was going to tie the game up, but Julian Hauser sacked them and caused them a missed field goal, and it was pretty good, And shout out for Hauser; he went to Clarion University. That's my rival school in college, but shout out to Julian Hauser. Yeah, so and then I was worried about it because I was worried about the defense, how it goes, because their top corner Peters, he went down and he got hit. It was a nasty concussion hit, and stretcher came out, and thank God that he's okay. He's tweeting everyone. I sent a tweet to him through Instagram. He's speedy recovery to him, but way to respond after that play. That's someone's down for the count for that long. We don't know how the mental state of the people. So shout out for that defense. They did what they had to do to win the game. So
yeah, and I want to point out too how you said to the Winnipeg fans not to be ashamed or embarrassed of this loss because of the end result. I would say that to the Hamilton fans from last week, based on what Montreal did against them. And we're going to talk about with this game against the Argos. I mean, Montreal, holy cow. Their offense looks like they're running like a machine right now. So.
Oh, absolutely. And the first play of the game, David Alexander threw like a 50-yard pass to Tyson Philpott, and
yeah, that was off a flea flicker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a flea flicker indeed. And basically, this team, this team is dangerous. It's crazy and amazing, and I know it's amazing how Davis Alexander is 13-0 in regular season, and this team know how to find a way to win, especially at home. And with a healthy Davis Alexander, they are one of the most dangerous teams in the CFL. And Tyson Philpott looked crazy good on Friday.
Oh, he had an amazing game. And because I think probably what had happened, Toronto, they were probably trying to cover Snead, and Philpott benefited from it. So now, just as you had said that you were hoping you were wrong about Hamilton losing and that you lost faith in them, I was feeling this with Toronto, thinking Montreal is going to slaughter them. But Toronto, man, they hung in with them. I mean, in Kelly, he looked like the Kelly of old, and it was to the point where I'm thinking, I'm like Tim Carrey in that. I think it was I forget what movie. It was a Dumb and Dumber. He said, "So you're saying there's a chance?" That's how I felt. Yeah. I'm thinking they're going to beat Montreal after what they did to Hamilton. Are you kidding me? But
yeah, and also it's rivalry and stuff like that. And Brandy was amazed by it because she's a Argos fan, and Jack Kelly had 445 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now he had a bad interception in the what I call in the first half. But
right.
Kevin Mattel. I want to draw out some names. Kevin Mattel, Mikhail Polk, and Tyler Kleinman. They are the unsung heroes of these teams with the wide receivers. So if you're into fantasy or you're into betting and stuff like that, look into Kevin Mattel. Kevin Mattel looked like a younger Nick Dempsey, and he's just like he got hands, he got speed, and he got the strength to tackle out yak yards. He had that one play, the first play in the third quarter. Jack Kelly threw a deep ball to Mattel, and Mattel ran a 63-yard touchdown, and he broke off 2 tackles. It was insane. And this team, the defense alone, this team is solid. And this team, a lot of people say this team ain't gonna be good and all that stuff. Like, this team is good. Deshaun Amos looked amazing. Darius Pickett looked good. He went back home. He got a sack. Cameron Judge looked like the Cameron Judge of the Calgary Stampeders. And this defense got names. They got Dark Angelo. They got Hawley. They got Jonathan Colombo at defensive line. Ojo too. This team is a dangerous team, and I hate to say it because I'm a Ticap fan. This team will do something. This is the type of team that will find a way get in the playoffs and actually win 1 or 2 games to make it to the Grey Cup. It just reminded me of the team. It just reminded me of the Montreal team a couple of years ago. No one talked about the Alouettes. No one cared much about the Alouettes. But guess what? They strike hot at the right time and end up winning the Grey Cup. So kudos to Toronto playing hard, and it was 37-30. And even though I think it would have been 37-23, but Montreal had a late touchdown. Toronto had a late touchdown, but right. Montreal had a touchdown at the end. It was still the deal, but Toronto held it on. Toronto need to win a couple more games because they're road warriors, just like BC Lions. If they win 1 or 2, I don't know when they're coming back home.
It was in August or something, wasn't it? I mean, it's a BMO, but are they playing anymore at that college that they played the preseason games? What's it called? Bial?
No, I think I think they'll have a home game in the middle of Saskatchewan, not the Saskatchewan Stadium. I think they're playing like somewhere like one of those touchdown Colano. You know what I mean? I think they have 1 or 2 games in Saskatchewan. I think.
Oh wow.
But Toronto, if they win a couple games on the road and say they like 500. Or maybe a game, like a game under 500, and they're going to have a lot of home games in August, September, and October. I would not be surprised Toronto make the playoffs because this team, if they're healthy, they're a dangerous team. So pretty much Toronto is in the same boat with BC. So they have to weather this storm.
Yeah, I think BC's in a better position though, because the touchdown Kelowna thing. Those games are still in their province, so they'll still have some fans. And actually, I saw like on their website they had like travel packages and stuff. Looks like it's a good time because I think they have like a casino and a resort, and they have concerts and all kinds of stuff. So it looked like it would be a good time. But
and I saw like the what they call the preseason game there. It was very intimate. It's very it's packed house and it was pretty fun. And I can't wait for their game in a couple weeks there. So it is like it showed good game. It's crazy. I'm amazed. This week I was more amazed at the team who lost than the team they win for all 3 games. You know, so.
And in Toronto's case, it was their first game too. So because they had to bye in week 1. So it'll be. As an Argos fan, I am encouraged, even though they lost. But I think it was just tougher competition. But the Argos, like you said, we might as well play Sweet Georgia Brown because to me right now they're like the Argo Globetrotters. You know what I mean? And they don't have any home games.
Yeah. And the one downside for Toronto is their veteran kicker was pretty bad, and he missed he was 3 for 5, but he missed 2 chip shots. It was insane.
Right.
You know, I was like, they could have built that lead. They was winning at one point. They was winning. Let's see. I'm looking at it right now. At one point, they was winning 20-14 deep in the end of the third quarter, and they could have made this a 10-point game or a 9-point game, but what's the face missed a easy 30-yard field goal.
Oh, I know, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think last year the game Kim and I went to in September, I think he was like maybe 2 or 3, but they wound up winning on a walk-off field goal. But yeah, it's very inconsistent. Hopefully he can work on that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. And kudos for those 2 teams that play their game. So then obviously this one is the game. Personally, I think this is the game of the week right here is the Saskatchewan and the BC Lions. And at first, it was all Saskatchewan. It was, what's-the-face, Trevor Harris looked amazing the whole game, man. It was like, Trevor Harris was flinging the ball, and Sheffer Baker, touchdown maker. He didn't score a touchdown. It was insane. Like, look at the gaudy numbers of these. I have it all on paper right now. The gaudy numbers of these receivers. Keyshawn Johnson, 9 catches for 131 yards. Keon Sheffer Baker, 11 catches, 165 yards. And their best receiver, Samuel Emilius, 6 catches, 91 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And A.J. Olad had 69 yards, but that's not the point of that. The point is Trevor Harris, 30 for 36, 417 yards. Just amazing names. An amazing number, 30 for 36.
Right.
Yeah. At first, it looked like it was going to be a blowout, but Nathan Rourke, he's Captain Canada. He got the team in together and made a little comeback run. Shout out for their jersey. I'm begging my wife to get that jersey. My birthday's next month. I want so much jerseys I got on dhgate.com. I got I need an Elks jersey, and now I've just put on the BC Lions new jersey. Right. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people compared that to the Bills had a winter frost jersey in the last season, and then I think you had mentioned to me off the air, and I saw it too on Facebook, that Ottawa is coming out with a new road jersey this weekend.
Yeah, all whites,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of wish they had these jerseys announcement 3 months ago so I can put my name and buy it, so. Anyway, how does it started? This team, the problem with this team, the BC, happened. Saskatchewan defense is pretty good at the point in time. They shut down, even though he had 2 touchdowns, when they shut down James Butler, he had 9 carries at 35 yards. They also shut down the best wide receiver in that CFL, Keon Hatcher, for 4 receptions, 64 yards. And also their other guy, Javon Catoy, 51 yards. But Justin McGinnis looking like Justin McGinnis always, got 8 catches and 129 yards. But they still almost find a way to win this game at the end. It was crazy how it happened. Let's see, I'm looking at my notes right here. It was like in the fourth quarter, they scored a touchdown. They drove down the field. They score a touchdown, and they took the lead like a minute 22nd. But Trevor Harris went down the field easily, and he just he scored a touchdown on Emilius with 13 seconds left. It was insane, and the crowd was going nuts. It was a beautiful showing, and they had the banner celebration. It was just people was going nuts in Regina, and that's another team. Like I said, there's so many teams to say, okay, keep your eye on this team. Saskatchewan is a team to keep your eye on, and I feel like if Trevor Harris is healthy, and this is the big if he get healthy, this team is one of the best teams in CFL.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, you kind of expect Saskatchewan to be strong coming in. You expect BC to be strong coming in. But, I mean, there are some teams that could be potentially surprising. Probably, and I think you said this last week, Phil, I think probably Edmonton probably be the biggest surprise of the year. But
yeah. And what I'm worried about BC, and this is my worry about, is the scheduling of the BC. Even though they got those 2 games in Kelowna in June 27th and July 4th against Calgary and Edmonton, but they still next week they got to go at Hamilton. They got to play Calgary at home. They got to play Edmonton in a back-and-back on the 17th. These are all practically road games. Then they go back to Kelowna. Let me see this here. Oops, let me read this. They're having a Kelowna game at July 25th. They got a Kelowna game against Toronto, and they got to go at Winnipeg on the 30th. They're gonna go play Hamilton. That will be their first game back in the BC play, August 8th.
All right.
So they had the weather storm just like Toronto, but like you say, is they have a better situation. They have a better situation in Toronto. So
Right. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hope you World Cup fans are happy with this. BC and Toronto. Good God.
Yeah, it's just and that's the thing, and they you better enjoy it,
Yeah, really.
and it's crazy how Toronto. I think Toronto got to run into the situation, and that's sad.
Right.
And they had to go. Let's see. Well, they had to go at Ottawa. That's not an easy game in Ottawa.
No.
They got to play Saskatchewan at Saskatchewan.
Yikes.
At the little place. Then they're going to go at Calgary. They're going to play Winnipeg at Saskatchewan. I'm looking more at this. Once again, Saskatchewan playing Toronto. Wait, no, I'm reading it wrong. They got Hamilton playing Toronto in Hamilton.
Right.
And treating this as a home game.
Yeah.
And they had to go. And then they got to go at BC. Well, at Kelowna, and they got to play Toronto. This is the first time to come back. It's August 5th. They got to play Calgary.
That quote-unquote home game at Hamilton, I mean, it's kind of like the United Bowl went to last week, where DC was quote-unquote the visiting team. And usually what they do for those games, Phil, I don't think they show it on TV. They usually give a mic to a player of the home team to psych the crowd up. And he gave it to this DC Defender fan, and he's like saying, "Yeah, the league brought us into our own stadium. They made us wear the visiting uniforms. I want you fans to get up and give these guys," meaning Louisville, "I want you to give them hell." So I'm betting that somebody from Hamilton, if he gets a mic, he'll probably say the same thing, to shut up the Argo fans or whatever. But
yeah, man, that Hamilton and Toronto is the closest thing to. I don't know what one of the best hockey rivalries or NFL rivalries. Like, I wouldn't say Steelers Ravens because we respect each other.
Right.
It's more like Steelers Browns.
Right.
or it's more like Boston versus Montreal in hockey.
Yeah. Or Bears Packers, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, everyone's all nice and all lovey-dovey and stuff, but, like, when Toronto and Hamilton play, no one like each other. You always see fans fighting. You always see fans trying to fight players.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's all bets aside, the nice Canadianness is not, and it's crazy playing a home game in your rival's stadium against your rival team is insane.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And it's like, I know not to wear any Argo gear in Hamilton. And when we were going up, I still have a Baltimore CFL Colts embroidered jacket. I was debating whether or not to bring that, but I'm thinking, now I'll get in a fight with some old Argos fan, or they may even be a Calgary fan in there or something. It was like, I decided to leave it at home. But, yeah, it's ironic about Canada, though, because the people there, the people I met up there were awesome. They do live up to their stereotype of being nice, but then again, some of the meanest hockey players in the world also come from Canada, too. So, it's...
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because me and the wife, we're planning next year to do a trip. We're trying to get, and you can get in there too, try to have a bunch of people going up to a game in Hamilton or Toronto. And if we go to like a Hamilton-Toronto game, she's going to wear a Toronto jersey. I'm like, is that a good idea?
Right, and it's like, honey, I don't want to fight a bunch of guys in black and gold. That's like, no, you talk about our NFL rivalry. I would not want to wear a Ravens gear in Pittsburgh. And, there are Steeler fans that are fearless and wear it in Baltimore, but I've seen too many fights, and which is, in any sport, Phil, I think that's the stupidest thing, because it's like, the owners of the teams are not paying you to hit the fans of the other team, so there's no point, It's like...
Yeah, and that definitely be our topic next week, top CFL rivalry teams, that'll be a good thing to talk next week, you know. But but this, like I say, BC. It's just like Hamilton, and I hate to say it, it's not a do or die. It's not a do or die game next week against Hamilton. It's kind of like, okay, we need to find a way to win this game against Hamilton.
Right.
Just like Hamilton did to Winnipeg, because everyone thinks BC gonna go to Hamilton on Friday and they're gonna lose. I think it'll be a lot closer than people think, but it's how people feel about it, and I feel like they need to win this game so they don't be 0-2, and especially me picking BC to make it to the Grey Cup.
Right.
So
Well, I think too with that, Phil, is I think Hamilton last week against Montreal, and then BC this week against Saskatchewan. They're rival teams who you could argue that Montreal could have BC's number, and Saskatchewan could have. Montreal could have Hamilton's number. Saskatchewan could have BC's number, because the announcers even were commenting about it later in the game. He said, "Oh, once again, Nathan Rourke's heart was broken, in a tough loss, So it's like, it could be a case. That's why I thought that Hamilton would bounce back, because I think just Montreal right now just has Hamilton's number, and that is not a slight against Hamilton. It's just, they're sometimes matchups just line up the way they do.
Yeah. And that's good. Like, sometimes teams is tougher against certain teams and their style of play. Like Steelers, I had to compare to NFL stuff. I tell you what, every time I see Steelers play at Cleveland, they know they're going to put it on Thursday night. I know 9 out of 10 we'll lose this game. Right. Because something about going at Cleveland, we have a problem winning up there. And it doesn't matter how good the team is or how bad this team is. I remember this team lost to Cleveland to a guy named DDR. and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So it's like I say, it's all about matchup play. Toronto always played great against Hamilton. Toronto always played, actually they always do play great against Hamilton. Toronto also played great against Montreal too.
Right.
But
no, they're divisional foes, they're familiar. But then again, it's a small league, so I think there's a lot. I think there isn't that much difference in familiarity, but yeah. We talk about like the UFL. It's like, do they have too many teams in Texas? You can make that argument with the CFL. Do they have too many teams in Ontario? But I guess population-wise, and I don't know, Hamilton and Toronto's been around forever, and Ottawa had a team for a while, and then they lost it, and then they got it back, and so.
And also it's like I say, to me, it's all about the population and stuff, and it's all about regional pride. And once you have regional pride, you have those kind of games, cities will hone to it. It's like, hey, let's go. Like Hamilton will be fired up for Toronto. Toronto will be the Argo fans will be fired up for Hamilton fans, or Ottawa and Montreal too. So even in the West, like Edmonton and Calgary's blood wars, and and Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. I have buddies on both sides, and the one thing they hate the most is each other teams.
Right.
And like I say, rivalry bring the best out of teams, and that's how it is. No matter, you just throw record out of the book and stuff like that. So we'll see. Next week we got some good stuff.
Yep. And next week, well, before we get to next week, I'll get to how we did in the picks. So after week 1, you had won 2 games to 1. I had won 1 game and lost 2. This particular week, I won 2 games to 1. You won 1 game to 2. So for the season right now, we're tied at 3-3. But
that's awesome, man. But I shout out to Brandy. She finally won one. I think she picked Saskatchewan over BC.
Oh wow, okay. And we both picked BC, so but that's not it's not a bad pick. I mean, defending champions at home, and as you mentioned, they got the banner and probably the rings and stuff too. So I mean those times when a returning champion has their first game, I mean they're always gonna be psyched. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And well, like I say, another week of football, it's gonna be pretty good. There's a lot of, like I said, this week has got a lot of odd matchups, but it's good matchups,
Right. And what's odd about this week is not only do we have 4 games, we don't have a Thursday night game. We have a Friday, 3 Saturdays. My goodness. Okay, so let's get into it. And one thing, I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but it seems like every week the first game has your Tiger Cats. And this week, as you mentioned, BC will be playing there. Okay, so let's get into that. So, how do you think that game's going to turn out?
Yeah, and it's going to be on 7:30 on TSN. And if you're in America, you're going to watch it on CFL Plus. CBS Sports Network ain't going to have it on, but CFL Plus is the name of the game. It's free and all that good stuff. Hamilton and BC, this is the tale of 2 teams, and I feel like BC was in Hamilton position like last week. It was early this season. It's a must-win for BC. And if BC got to find a way to get James Butler the ball. They got to find a way to get Keon Hatcher the ball. And and Katoy. They got to get that offense going. And Betts, the defense player of the year, this guy got to find a way to get to the guy. But Hamilton, they got to keep on building for this situation. Roundtree got to find a way to elevate Roundtree. And once again, even though he's going to get double teamed no matter what, you got to find a way to get Kenny Lawler the ball. And this is 2 weeks. He have under 20 yards of that. I think the shell will break out this week. I think you'll finally see Kenny Lawler get in the end zone. You're finally going to see Kenny Lawler have over 70 yards this week. And it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a very close game. It's going to be a very competitive and fun game. I think Hamilton will win, and I think it's going to be a good game for both teams.
Okay. I would agree on all those points. I also agree that BC is going to want to treat this as a bounce back. And Hamilton, just as you had mentioned that they needed to do that against Winnipeg last week, I think their defense has to keep Rourke in check and all his receivers, and because I mean they can be explosive at any moment too. And Hamilton, I agree with you. I think they can win this game. I think, as you mentioned, they have to get other targets for Levi to throw to open up for Snead, perhaps, and get that running game going with Roundtree. If they do that and take care of the football, I'm still worried about them after week 1 with Montreal, where they coughed up the ball and what they did a couple times against the Argos in preseason. I'm going to agree with you and go with your Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and some reason, and this is what I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this all day about this. Like, Hamilton is not that good at home, man. It reminds me a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel like they built up for the road game, but when at home you expect them to win, they lay an egg. So I hope it's wrong about this. And for BC side, I feel like coaching staff, and this is for the whole season around, it's Grey Cup or bust for the coach. So I just think they need to find a way to get their top stars going. and like this is the best year possible to get to the Grey Cup for this team. So we'll see.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, they have to be road warriors, and it's like from what you said about Hamilton, I don't know, maybe Hamilton should have had some World Cup games instead of Toronto, but I don't know, maybe that might work out better for them.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And they do have to be on the field, but who knows? But we got the next game, and people say usually we got a triple header on Saturday, so I'm doing everything possible to get my wife not doing anything that day. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna buy a couple beers, buy a couple pizzas, have a couple people over, and watch 3 football games at its finest. So, and these games are gonna be great. And the first game at 1:00 is a old bruiser rivalry right there. Your Toronto Argonauts, they're 0-1, and they playing Ottawa Red Black 0-1, and it's on 1:00 on TSN RDS, and that's up in Canada, and 1:00 in the States is CFL Plus. Now, Toronto looked good. Ottawa, well, we don't know how good this team is. That's the rain. Hopefully it not be raining in Ottawa. Hopefully it'll be a decent day. But Ottawa have some good qualities to keep it close. Toronto looks like a team that they can go up there and win this game. And I think it's going to be a close game, but it's going to be a very ugly game. But I think Toronto's going to win this game, but they have to find a way. They have to find a way to play good defense on Ottawa because they feel like Abajago, whoever his name is their star player running back. They had to contain Geno Smith and force Meyer to throw a couple of interceptions. And once you force Meyer to throw interceptions, that's when he's rattled. So I feel like Toronto can do it. I feel like Toronto will win this game, but it'll be a very ugly, close game.
Okay. I agree with you. I think the Argonauts can pull it off. I think what they need to do is, it looks like they've made improvements in defense. I think they also have to keep Kelly healthy. I think they have a similar dynamic to Montreal. They're 2 different teams when their star quarterbacks are healthy. Last year they had a down season because Kelly had 1 leg. Now he's healthy. So, and it seems like the line's protecting him. Guys are getting open for him. He had a good game. He darn near beat Montreal last week. Ottawa didn't play badly as either last week, but I mean, in their last game they didn't play last week. I think they were on bye. I think they played in week 1, but anyway, their last appearance they didn't look bad, but I think I'm going with the Argos with you as well. So.
Yeah, and who knows? Like, I think Ottawa will find a way. I think Ottawa's going to find a way to make it tough. But, the only way Ottawa can do it is find your star guys. The running back, Daniel, I call him Daniel A. And Daniel A. is a good running back. And Geno Smith's a good player. And Everhart, the ex-BC Lion wide receiver, is solid. And basically, you got to Dinwiddie and here's the thing, Dinwiddie might be fired up because this is his old team, so who knows? And Dinwiddie know all the traits of Toronto Argonauts, so Coach Dinwiddie might have ace in the hat for them, what I mean? So who knows? So it'll be a good game. I think Toronto will do their thing. Then we got a 4:00 game. We got two of the best teams in the CFL right now, by record-wise. It's the Montreal Wets versus the Edmonton Elks. Montreal's going to the West. I think this is Davis Alexander's first Western game. The last time they was there, he was injured. Edmonton Elks is riding high after the East win against Ottawa in that little rainstorm they played. And it shows it's a home opener for Edmonton. who knows how many people are going to be there, but that's their home game. And the key to Edmonton had to win. They got to find a way to get Rankin the ball, like always. They also got to find a way to get the wide. Cody Fajaro got to be like Cody Fajaro at Ottawa, and which I think Cody Fajaro is like that in Ottawa, and sometimes when he played for the Ottawa. So, I mean, damn, Ottawa. Why I say Ottawa? Montreal.
Right.
But I think this team have what it takes to beat Montreal. And Edmonton, Montreal will be fired up after their big win against Toronto. But you got Austin Mack, Cody Fajaro. The duo is back. Rankin looking solid. The defense looks solid. And you got a coach that got players can run through the wall. So, like I say, I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to take Edmonton over Montreal. Davis Alexander finally going to lose a game. And people out of all teams, they'll lose against the Edmonton Elks.
Now, yeah. And I'm kind of disappointed you did that because I was leaning towards Edmonton myself because I like their defense. However, Montreal, I mean, we were talking about their offense. Their defense has been coming to play too, and it'll be an interesting test for Edmonton's defense against Montreal's high-powered offense on this too. I am just so we can actually have a competition with this. I mean, I could see this game going either way. Since you're already picking the Elks, I will go with the Alouettes.
Yeah, I beat you to the Edmonton thing, but I just think this team has something. And I'm sorry, I'm all blazing about Edmonton. I just think this team has something special about this team that they're going to fight through no matter what. And if you want to look at it, look at the tapes last year when they went at Montreal. They beat Montreal, even though they didn't have Davis Alexander, but they went in Montreal and beat them because the will of their coach and the will of that team. And Cody Fajaro, he loved to beat his old team. So, yeah, Edmonton it'll be a good game. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then the final game, which I think could be the game of the week, rival foes, the Saskatchewan Roughriders versus the Calgary Stampeders. The Calgary Stampeders got to be like the BC Lions and Hamilton. This is a bounce, even though they was off last week. It's a bounce back game. They pretty much if they want playoff situations, they got to beat this game. And it's not, I know it's early, but have a win against your West Division foe is like winning 2 games. So Calgary need to find a way to get Mills the ball and the other Philpott going. Let Vernon Adams the third cook. And let Vernon Adams cook, and let me tell you something, he'll do beautiful things. And as Saskatchewan, they need to find a way to get AJ Ouellette in the game. So yeah, he has 61 yards and stuff like that. He need to find a way to run the ball. So Adams is on the bench a lot, and that's what it is. And they need to find a way to contain Adams as a defense, which I think they have enough guys like that. But Mulligan looked like he not be playing this week because he got hurt of the game and the thing, and that's their best defenseman. So we're going to say this, and this is going to be a very good game. It will be a very close game, and every time Saskatchewan and Calgary play is always either go like close game and overtime and stuff. I take Calgary because Calgary have to win this game. Calgary, even though they lost, they look good, but Calgary can find a way to win this game and be 1-1.
Hmm. Okay, well, I mean, I could certainly see that with Calgary, and plus they're playing at home, and we could even, I don't know, I was even thinking of making a little parlay bet out of this, Phil, whether or not we'll see the Rabbit come back in Calgary. I don't know. But
I mean, I give it 3-1.
but, I mean, it'll be tough for Saskatchewan, like you said, they're a rivalry and all that, but I don't know. I think they're looking pretty good. I like their chances this week. I will go with the Rough Riders.
All right, yeah. And like I say, it's like the last two games. The Rough Riders look good. Even Calgary look good, but the Rough Riders look like they're ready to make a run for the cup already. So it's like I say, it's going to be like I say, it's going to be a packed house because the Rough Riders, like Steelers and Packer fans, they travel. They definitely travel. So half of those fans in McMahon are going to be wearing green. So it's going to be crazy. So they're going to have their little melon heads and everything. So it's going to be awesome. One of my buddies went to the Dave and Buster Grey Cup watch party. He's going to the game. He's going to the game in Calgary, so he's wearing his Saskatchewan colors. So it's going to be a good game, and like I say, it's going to be a typical West battle. It'll be hard hitting and deep balls, so it's going to be a good one. I can't wait, and I can't wait for the triple header on Saturday. So I'm going to tell Brainy, let's get some pizzas, have some friends over, and we'll go from there.
Sounds like a good time for all that. Might not be able to watch the 7 o'clock game except for the highlights. I think we do have dinner and a mini concert. Kim and I are fans of the band ELO. They have this really good tribute band here in the Baltimore area called Atomic Light Orchestra. They're playing at this place that is not only a fun place to watch a band, but they have a really good restaurant too. So I don't know, we're gonna probably check that out. That might be a post-anniversary thing, since.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna miss the Hamilton game because it's Juneteenth weekend. Usually Pittsburgh have free concerts, so we're gonna go down to that Friday, maybe Saturday, and definitely Sunday. So basically, it's gonna be. Like I say, I have all the games on DVR because I got TSN.
Yeah.
And
you can watch on your phone too if you want, probably.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. And you know how the woman is like, get off your phone.
Yeah. Mine's the exact opposite. I'm usually on that way with her, but sometimes I'm distracted too, especially with what we're talking about. So.
Yeah. So, like I say, it's going to be a good week of football. We're going to find out. The teams that we're iffy about, we're going to see how good they really are. I'm talking like the Torontos, the Ottawas, the Edmontons, the BCs,
right.
Calgarys, stuff like that. Because we already know that Hamilton, Montreal, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg is the top teams. And we're going to see who's going to be the team who's going to be good, who's going to be a creepy good,
Yeah.
So...
And it'll be like the New Day. Woo, woo, woo.
The New Day. Yes, it is. So, yeah, that's the reason why we love CFL, because we don't know who's good and who's not. So,
right. It's a parity in that league, which, honestly, this year it's a little more meritocracy, I think, with the playoffs than it will be next year, where you have 8 out of 9. I mean, if you're a fan of the 9th-seeded team next year, and years to come. I mean, sports talk, Ottawa or Toronto or whoever the bottom dweller turns out to be, you're going to hear it. It's like
if you're the 9th team of an 8-team playoffs, that's an instant fire.
Right.
That's how it is. That's how the states is high now. And now, do I like it? No, we don't like it.
No.
We don't like it one bit. But the fact is, it's a shame that that one team that don't make the playoffs, even if they had a bad season, that person who's coaching that team might get fired. So
right.
who knows? Excuse me.
Well, We have 21 including the previous 2 weeks, 21 weeks to find out, and then playoffs after that. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people say this is like the CFL this is last good season. Well, I hope not, but it's kind of bittersweet this season. You know what I mean? Like just like the rules and stuff like that, but.
And again, I mean, we spoke about this in previous episodes. I mean, some of the rules about the field, I'm kind of neutral, and a lot of it, I think, is just to help the smaller stadiums like BMO in Toronto and the Hogwarts prison in Montreal, Molson, places like that to have smaller end zones to accommodate them. So it'll help them a little bit. But yeah, I just hope if they switch to 4 downs, though, I think that's going to kill it. Yeah.
If they switch to 4 downs, that might be the last of me too.
Right. It's like, you know what? Then I'll just watch UFL or college or NFL preseason. I'll do that anyway. But
we'll be doing UFL and European podcasts.
Those leagues are fun. Have you been watching any of their games in Europe?
I'm starting to watch them. It's insane, and I think it's starting to catch fire now. And I watched some of it. The fans is watching, and I saw old college football player names that really was good, and now they're in these leagues now. Like, I found out that Denard Robinson is playing on one of these teams, and then Denard Robinson was like 12 years ago. He was solid, for Michigan, and I was like, what? Denard Robinson?
Right. I kind of wish the European leagues played at a different time of year than the CFL, because I would probably want to do a Europe football show like this, and I would have the perfect song for it. I had this one song from Rammstein called Sona, where they count to 10 in German, and that would be like a perfect intro, and then just so European football teams killing each other. So that'd be great.
I love that. I love that song. And then now everyone talk about merger in UFL. If they ever talk about merger European League, I might be open to that.
Yeah, because that's what happened. It's the opposite. They had one league and they split up. Yeah. It used to be the European League of American Football. Now you have the European Football Alliance, and then you have the American League of Football Europe. So and what's cool is like they have some old NFL Europe World Bowl teams like the Berlin Thunder and the Frankfurt Galaxy and stuff like that. But then you have new teams like I found out each league has a team in Paris. The AFLE has the Paris Lights, and then the EFA has the Paris Musketeers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then it's like they have some cities I've never even heard of. I had to look up where they were. I mean, they have like a couple in Austria I hadn't heard of. They have a city. I think the AFLE has a team in Poland, and so it's like they have like these real, and they have a Lions team in Prague. So I mean, they're spread throughout. And at first I thought it would be usually those leagues are either it's like England, Scotland, and Germany, and maybe like the Barcelona Dragons or something like that. But no, they're spread throughout. So I mean, and their games are free, folks, and they're not like even though there's a significant time difference, a lot of times Saturday games, they'll be on like 3 o'clock Eastern time. So, and they're free on YouTube. Both channels are free. The only significant difference I saw, Phil, was the EFA has goalposts like modern goalposts like what we use now. The other league, the AFLE, has the old school H-shaped goalposts. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, and they're probably like the same low height that they used to have back in the day in the U.S. and Canada. So yeah, that's
and that's crazy. And that's my after this season. That's my goal now. I want to try to get into more of the European League. Like, I'm starting the beginning of it like that. Like, I'm doing research of that and the IFL because I feel like arena football is making a resurgence again. And it was just like, I heard about this European League, I won't say like 20 years ago. There was a football player from the Steelers. His name is, he recently passed away, Tunch Ilkin.
Oh, okay.
Tunch Ilkin, offensive lineman. He used to be the color commentary for the Steelers on radio. He's from Turkey. He's from Istanbul, Turkey. He had clinics of football in Istanbul in Turkey back in like late 90s, early 2000s and stuff like that. So, and I think they had a European League team. I think it's dysfunction now. It's gone now, but they had a team over 15 years, and he was one of the big guys that built Istanbul football there. So,
oh wow.
So that's my thing about, and pretty much my buddy did a Where Are You Now? I got but basically you hear guys like Denard Robinson, Beanie Wells, all these guys who used to be great in college, didn't do so great in CFL or NFL or whatnot. They're even over in Japan. Do you know there's a Japan football league there?
Yeah, I did hear something about that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a Japan football league and a European league, and this is where all the greats play. And this will be great. I can't wait for that, to watch that, and I'm going to probably take a gander a couple of games this year.
Yeah. Merch for those leagues, I'm going to give you a heads up, Phil, they're tough to buy for, because I tried to buy a Munich Ravens hat from their official store, and they work through shop like a lot of the websites here. Unfortunately, number one, I had to translate it into German. Two, they wouldn't accept it. They said, we don't sell in your area code, so I had to get a knockoff from Printerpool. So, EFA, if you're listening, whatever get someone to translate if you don't speak English. But Europeans, they're much more educated than our country is as far as different languages.
Yeah, definitely. And
talk to somebody in the shop, man. Americans want to buy the stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And like I say, like once I get into it, once I get into it, I'll find a way to buy some jerseys and stuff like that. And I just love football. I love alternate routes of football, and I tell people this is like, don't be even the people in our page, like, it's okay to like different style of football. It's okay to like other football, and I'm more supportive of other leagues that trying to have spring football, summer football like that. That's why I love the UFL. That's why I love European. That's why I don't know, the spring league is still around. I love the spring league.
Right, PSL, right, yeah.
It's just like, I think what's great about these leagues, they know that they're not trying to compete with the NFL. And that was the problem, the downfall of these leagues before. They was trying to compete with the NFL. And they're making almost $1 billion per Sunday, and I was cited for CFL, and the people of Winnipeg, they made a $93 million revenue for the Grey Cup.
Right.
I found that out this week. And like I say, CFL never ever tried to be like the NFL until maybe now, but I'm just so glad we have alternate football.
Right. So, and as you and I and other people said, I think that's a mistake from CFL. I mean, you have I mean, if you're doing this to generate revenue for your league, you have other means now that you didn't have 30 years ago. It made sense to go to non-NFL markets in the U.S. to try to get some money from them. Now, you didn't have online betting then. You didn't have, I mean, you had some fantasy football, but it's not developed like it is now. Video games weren't as developed as they are now, and I know there are plenty of fans that are clamoring. They want a Madden style game for CFL. Maybe instead of Madden 27, maybe like Matthews 27, or think of any legendary CFL coach. You know, I mean, just, but
and then the thing is, like, I try to do that during the height of CF. I try to do that in '98. I try to have a letter. I had all this stuff printed out. I remember this is me. This is high school, me doing this. I had all this printed out, all the stats of each team in the CFL. And once again, it took me months.
Right.
The EAA to send something. They send me back a letter back, say, hey, we read this, it's pretty nice, but guess what? We don't want to do this. And the fact is, I think they're wrong about it. I think they could have had, there's a market and you could have video games about it. And
sure.
I'm surprised no one's trying to push that. I don't know, they have independent, what do I call it, independent gaming.
Right.
They have CFL games, but they could not buy the rights to the CFL, so it looked cheap, it looked bad, like what I call maximum football.
Right.
That was probably, and I hate to say, and I know only 2 people created this, and shout out for them to doing that.
Right.
But it's possibly one of the worst games I ever played, and that's not just football. I'm talking about every game I ever played.
Well, I think what they had to do with that is Madden and Tecmo Bowl started off. They couldn't get the rights to the NFL teams. It was like they got to cut a deal with the players' associations. That's probably what they would have to do in Canada, because it was like the first Tecmo Bowl. It's like the teams had the colors of the NFL teams, but they had like these weird logos. It's like, I don't know. I remember I would play as Indianapolis because we didn't have anybody else, and it was like the Tecmo Bowl players would look like the Colts, but they would have like some weird like horse or something in the end zone, or some weird Japanese anime thing for each team. But then when they did Super Tecmo Bowl, then they started getting rights to the team names and the players. And then, of course, one thing I remember about that was, remember the Eagles, Randall Cunningham did not want his name on the game, so it was like Randall Cunningham was Eagles quarterback, number 5. It's like
number
12.
Baseball,
Yeah.
It's like baseball and Barry Bonds don't want his name in there,
Right.
Yeah, baseball. It had like I forgot his name. His name is 10 players, overall 99. It was RBI baseball, and he's the one. He's Barry Bonds,
As Turek, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so many independent gaming things, and you can make that as a video game. You can graphic-ize, graphic is so easy to make, and the problem is that this is me as a gamer. Graphics don't bother me. It's the game style and gameplay is that I drive the most. Like, I think the AI of the football game is downplayed, and I feel like it's an AI-driven world. Defense should be a lot more tougher than computers than now, and the computer players should be a lot more,
where they can learn your tendencies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And I feel like these gaming thing, like, say for example, EA ain't gonna do it. EA's stuck to their ways. I feel like other gaming programs like 2K or all those other people. I wouldn't mind seeing them trying out the CFL. It sucks because you ain't gonna see the goalposts in the middle and stuff like that.
No.
They just.
Although, you know what? They could do a mode where you could, I mean, especially like in Madden, they used to have like the all-time teams, or they could do a mode where it would be, you know, free, you know.
College football, yeah, like I said, college football is the closest thing for CFL football and UFLs and AAF. There's leagues like now, like online leagues, that they have. I don't know how they did this, and this is what it is. They have CFL leagues and UFL leagues, and they'll have players. They have like a league, but they won't have like the player names and stuff because college is only 4 years.
Right.
But they'll have a league of CFL and UFL together, and people play their CFL games. It's pretty cool because it's like the detail of the jerseys. That's why I did like the simulation game look exactly like the jersey they have. Someone took their time out and just did their thing with it. And
nice.
You tell me they can't do it is out of question. And I'm all about this league to make more money. If you have a game, you gotta find a way to have more money to your organization.
Yeah,
and I feel like video game is up there.
Oh yeah, especially if you want to get a younger audience too, to be, they'll be like in their teens and all now, but then they'll become older fans and then pass it on to their sons and grandkids and whatever.
Yeah.
I think that what they have to do too, Bill, is they have to. You have the people who are in power with this stuff. You have to convince them that they'll make money off of it. The interview that I did with Ron Snyder, it took him a while to get his book published because there were other publishing companies that he went to, and he said, "Oh, who cares about that? They were Canadian football and Baltimore," and it's like they had like younger people who didn't even. And I was like, "What do you mean Baltimore played Canadian football? Who wants to read about that?" It's like younger generation. I don't know, whatever. But the point is, you have to like convince these. If you get the era of EA Sports or 2K or Activision or whomever, convince them that okay, there is a market for this. People will buy. Well, I say kids, adults. Let's face it, adults buy. I mean, the players. I think that's the actual pro players. I think that's their favorite thing to do is play video games, so they don't get caught, at nightclubs or whatever. I don't know, but
yeah. And the crazy thing, the majority of these gaming things is up in Canada, and that's like I learned a lot. People say technology and technology is at Silicon Valley, which I understand on that. But there's a lot more technology up in Canada too,
sure.
As much as America. And I saw a movie, and it's not a sports movie. I saw a movie about the founder of BlackBerry. I never knew the BlackBerry cell phone was a Canadian phone.
I didn't know that either.
And it's pretty much I forgot what it called. I think the movie called BlackBerry. I think it was called. It's a pretty good movie. It's practically. I didn't know like a bunch of Canadians did that. So it's like there's tech-driven people up there, and I know they tried to do a CFL game, but the sad thing is it was the first time they did it was a PC game, and it was so hard to find to get it. I've been trying to get that. I was trying to get that game. It was like even the people in Canada did not know where this game at.
Wow.
And okay, then suddenly they had a game in 2016, Maximum Football, but it was like I don't know if you ever heard of those Maximum Football games. I think it's.
I only heard of it because you mentioned it. I think either one of the previous episodes, but yeah.
Yeah, Maximum Football. They had like 3 different styles of it's a good concept. It had 3 different styles of football. They had a Canadian style, they had a American style, and they had a college style.
Mm.
So basically, what this game is, this is a good game. Like, do you remember the NFL head coach?
Yes.
Like, you don't play the game. You just read the head coach.
You just call the plays, and then you have computer players playing for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a better. I wish they had a better way to talk about that stuff like that, but they don't.
Right.
And basically, it was like how. Like, it was a bad game, but, like, the recruitment of, like, the college game was, like, oh, it's tough. Like, you really had to, like, talk to these kids to go to your school, stuff like that. It was pretty in depth with that. But
wow. For recruiting, that's wild.
Yeah, but this, like I say, it seemed like no one wanted to mess with EA, and it's a shame because I like different flavors of football games, and that's the thing. And it's so many independent developers, and you can totally do it. And is it money based? I don't know. It's just, I feel like the technology, the graphics, and the AI, you can make this as a game, and you can have people do it. No, I play a cricket game. I play a lacrosse game. Lacrosse game is pretty good, and I heard only 3 people. I think lacrosse game was the most enjoyable sports game I played this year, and it was only developed by 5 people.
Huh.
Yeah, and I play rugby games
and even if it's not like something you can get for PlayStation, I mean, they have like all these mini games you play on your phone. I remember when I used to watch KBO during the pandemic, they actually had a KBO baseball game that I would talk to people in groups. It's like, it was firewalled outside of Korea. You couldn't get it here, and I talked to people, it's like, no, you can, but you gotta just basically jailbreak your phone to get it in. But I mean, it looked amazing. It had like little, and on the KBO broadcast, which I would watch on Twitch, they had a basketball game, and it was funny. The basketball players, it was like kind of like anime, but like their heads would be like 5 times the size of their bodies, and they're like jumping up trying to dunk balls and stuff. It was funny, but I would play something like that. They had a little KBO version of that where, they would have the players, and it had like, it was licensed to their teams and their fans. They're similar to like what you were talking about with Mr. Baseball. The fans do like their different songs and chants and all that stuff. I mean, it looked really cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the video right now. It's saying like this. It's like, I'm looking at like the origin of the CFL video games. It's like 2012 article revealed that a team of EA developers had prototyped a CFL conversion of EA Sports NCAA football for internal purposes. Despite talk between Canadian-born EA executive Cam Weber and then Commissioner Mark Cohen, the CFL mode never made it to any actual release. So there was a bunch of people who tried to do that, and I guess EA probably kiboshed that idea. And it wasn't Maximum Football, it was called Canadian Football 2017, which was on Xbox One, and I remember this game, and this game was the worst game I ever played.
Oh, wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's so many potential for this thing to explode, Bill. I mean, Toronto usually has the big exhibition game where they have the big CNE, and they always play Hamilton at BMO Field. They could have like a big party for that. Grey Cup, they could have like they do with Madden, have like tournaments and stuff. I mean, there are so many ways they can go through this.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. And who knows? They just need, the first thing they need to find a way to get this league relevant so they even talk about video games. So,
yeah, Commissioner Johnson, throw us some jobs, man. Throw us some loonies. Give us the human monies, and we'll come up there. That's
Yeah, give us some money. We'll definitely give you some more money to the league or yourself. Like we got ideas.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
right.
That's all good.
Well, I think we threw out a lot of ideas this week, Phil, and I think it's about time for us to wrap things up. Is there anything you want to close with before we do?
Yeah, like I say, I'd like to give a shout out to good people who doing like the shout outs to good people who's doing the podcast and the good people on the Facebook doing their thing. And I'd like to shout out my nephew again for showing me how to do that intro again. Once again, we got a lot of good content on our Facebook page. We up to 8,000 members. Yeah, we finally made the 8,000 plateau. Thank you for this podcast and Facebook stuff. So please comment. Please send some more content. Like I say, it's a growing league. It's a growing Facebook page. We've been doing this since 2011, and this is our first year doing our podcast. So make sure you like, follow, even save, and tell your friends about everything we do on this page.
And thank you to everyone who has already done all of those things. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, folks, thank you for talking Canadian football with us. We will speak to you next week.
All right, bye, guys.